Coming to you live from Butler, New Jersey for episode 4 from of Roll with the Fox, guys. All right. So, guys, let's cover some quick housekeeping items. I have a lot of accounts. We have the Academy account on Facebook. We have the Academy account on Instagram. I'm not personally on Instagram. We have Twitter. We have, I don't even know what we have. Guys, long story short, we have so many things that I don't manage most of those things. So if you ask questions on those accounts, it might take some time for them to get to me. If you want to have your questions covered, please comment on my personal account, preferably during the live broadcast as we're doing right now. Also, guys, I get a lot of private messages. I'm happy to try to answer all those questions, but the point of this Roll with the Fox podcast is to try to have other people benefit from the same questions that you guys might have. So if you have any questions, guys, this is the account during the live segment to have your questions answered, okay? Second thing, guys, I will be doing a BJJ camp in Costa Rica in March 4th through 8th, 2020. So it will be on Facebook in the next week or two. So if you're interested, take a look. We're going to create an event and we're going to send out some invitations. All right, let's move right on. So guys, the first question we had was from Jason Beber from North Carolina. Jason, if you're on, I would like to have a clarification. We covered my favorite guard, which I call a split guard. Again, it's basically have one leg in, one leg out. And you have literally a sprinkler system of submissions. We have a short arm lock, we have triangle, we have omoplata, and we also, if he turns away, we have an inverted arm lock. So this is my favorite guard because you have a lot of options, and you basically put the guy on the run right off the bat. It's very difficult for them to come forward because both your feet are on the hips, and it's also very difficult for them to withdraw. But Jason had additional questions on this, and I'm not quite sure which part of this you wanted to clarify. So in the meantime, Jason, I'm going to address your question that you had for episode 3, which you subsequently withdrew in favor of the split guard question. And that's sort of what is my favorite back take from the bottom. So I usually, when I'm on the bottom, I usually will attempt back take from 2 positions. One is sort of when the guy tries to do a knee cut pass, I will send him forward, and now I will try to take his back from here, okay? Now the reality of that is a skilled guy, once he feels the threat of the back take, what they'll actually do is, so as this is happening, as I'm coming out the back, they will actually just accept the sweep, and I'll wind up passing guard from the top. So again, I will threaten the back take, but ultimately I will settle for a sweep. So that's one. The second one, and this one is from a Riva Guard, and that's it works no gi as well, but it's primarily better with the gi. So I'll weave my leg in. When he back steps, I will hook my ankle in the crook of his knee. And guys, this is key. This is very important. I will pull to the side, load him up, and then guys, I just kick. You can actually put your hooks in, but it's not necessary for the purposes of just, finishing real quick. You can use the hooks on the inside of his knees. So let's look at it one more time. So what I'll do is I'll weave my leg in, bring my ankle, and this is key. The grip on this hand, no gi, I would use the wrist. With the gi, you can use the sleeve. It's up to you. Either way works. I pull him off to the side, and then I just kick forward, and now I have back attack. All right, so those are sort of the 2 favorite ways for me to attack the back from the bottom. Has Jason come on?
Jason Beber's watching, and Pilar Skeen says hello from Luxembourg.
Hi, Pilar. You're in Luxembourg. Nice. I'll see you guys in October in Germany. Has Jason provided clarification what he was asking about the split guard?
Not yet.
Okay, so let's like move right on. Guys, another question that people have asked is sort of, how do you stretch? How do you get ready? I have a routine that no matter where I go, I will do a quick stretch just to make sure that your body warms up. So before training, whether it's before I teach, before I train hard, it doesn't matter. I follow the same routine. It's basically dynamic. What I mean by dynamic, and I believe the latest exercise science confirms this, that before training, before working out, and I hate to call it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu working out. We're not working out, we're training. We're trying to get ourselves better. We're not just trying to, get sweat, increase muscle, and so forth. But before you do that, you want to do dynamic stretching. What I mean, say for example, I'll do push-ups. That stretches obviously your arms. It kind of aligns my back. I will do sort of squats. You don't have to have any weight. So this is what I do before training. After training, you want to switch to more static stretching, meaning your body's already warm, it's pliable. This is when I sort of, and I would encourage you guys, especially if you have issues with specific parts of your anatomy, whether it's knees, whether it's lower back, stretch the parts of your body that you have the biggest problems with. One of the biggest problems, and I see this all the time with my students, and I yell at them, somebody has a back problem. They train, they get very, their body gets pliable, everything's good, they feel good, and then they're gonna be sitting like this on the wall. Do you think being twisted like this is good for your back? Definitely is not. So the point is, be really disciplined about trying to make sure that you get, especially after training, more static stretching. I try to stretch my hamstrings because a lot of my back problems are aggravated by tight hamstrings, especially if I travel a lot. I try to plank, which kind of tends to align my lower back. So whatever it works for you, but again, after training, spend 3 to 5 minutes just stretching, especially the areas of the body that you have issues with. How are we doing on?
Jason Beber has commented he'd like to explore the bolt cutter from your split guard system.
Oh, now we call it a system. All right. We have graduated to a system. So I usually, when I put somebody in split guard, and let's look at it from closed guard. So when I'm in closed guard, I want his hands off my torso. So I'll put myself in, get his hands off to the ground. I'll position my hips in a way that I can immediately get at least 1 foot and then followed by the second foot on the hips. If I can get this, I'm not gonna go to a bolt cutter. To be honest with you, the only reason I would go to a bolt cutter is, I would still, try to do an arm drag here. The only reason I would go to a bolt cutter is if he starts to take one of the hooks away from me, okay? So the point is, once I'm here, this is actually stronger than a bolt cutter. Look, no hands. Enrique is in a lot of pain. If he tries to move to his right, the pain increases. So the only possible way he can move is to the left, which puts himself on the run. So immediately he's at the very least, he's close to tapping, but I'm keeping the pressure, but it's very difficult for him to come forward and very difficult for him to come to retract. So the point is, again, the only reason I would actually go into bolt cutter UDE GATAME is if he starts to neutralize one of the hips on one of my feet on his hips. Now what I'll do is I'll try to sort of re-establish his movement away from me. All right, so I have my right foot still on the hip, but right now the UDE GATAME starts to put him back on the run and allows me to get both of my feet on the hips. So again, let's recap this. The most important thing is once I get to this position, I will not change to a bolt cutter. Because if I try to change to a bolt cutter, it allows him to back off. So, and this is actually, I'd rather be here than a bolt cutter. This is a very, very strong position, offensively. Defensively, I don't care which way you look at it. Very, very strong position. So as he starts to, now what I'll do is, because he took my left foot off his hip. So what I'll do is attack bolt cutter, which kind of reestablishes the original attack. All right? So just to give you an idea, guys, this is my favorite guard. If I can put somebody in a split guard, they're going to be on the run. At the very least, you should be able to get a sweep out of that, at the very least. But chances are you may hit them with, there's 4 submissions. They kind of, the guy that you're attacking decides what submission you hit him with, and his reaction is based on his perception how deep of a trouble he is. So if he tries to kind of like stay where he is, he's in a straight arm lock. If he turns a little bit, he puts himself into a risk of a triangle. He turns more omoplata, and he turns all the way, which basically he's accepting that there's a high level of risk. He will go into an inverted arm lock. So let's look at those 4 again. He decides again how much he defends, decides what I'm going to hit him with. But again, very, very strong offensive guard. I will not switch to UDE GATAME unless he takes my foot off his hip. But let's look at it once we. So we start out. He puts his hand. Now I have split guard. I have a short arm lock. He turns away. I have a triangle. He turns a little more. I have omoplata. Okay. And if he turns all the way away, I have a very strong inverted arm lock. Okay? So I will hit him with however his body reaction is. And it's basically what I call it a sprinkler of possibilities. It's sort of like, is he lined up, a little away, more away, all the way away. All right? So I hope that clarifies Jason's question.
Shelly Doyle says hello.
Hi, Shelly.
I'm sorry. Louis Parada says hello. He says thanks for the videos. He missed his training with us.
How you doing, Louis?
And Bilal Badi said looks really good. Could you demonstrate your favorite leg lock setups?
Oh, jeez. We might be here for the next 3 hours. So we'll try to keep some of that for next time, because that's a very broad area. I usually like to attack knee bars over any other leg locks, and we can go over some of that for the next episode. So let's go. Akash Rawat from India had a twofold question. What is my favorite form of closed guard? So I don't like it. I don't like closed guard. And the reason for that is when you have closed guard, it's hard to attack from there. There's 2 schools of thought on this, and you will have some very high level guys tell you that they will close their guard and try to keep bringing their opponent down and try to keep them locked up, because that will create. Frank, you're gonna have to stop shaking the paper. It's driving me crazy. So, guys, I lost my train of thought.
That will create movement from close guard.
Yes. So, anyways, when you play close guard, and some guys are very, very successful with it, that they close the guard and basically try to bring the guy down into a cross collar choke. The reality is, from closed guard, there's very limited number of submissions you can achieve. Even for cross collar choke, you need to sort of angle your body in different directions. So I'm not a big fan of playing closed guard. But there are guys, this is not gospel. Understand that. This is my personal opinion. So usually when I close my guard, I will try to immediately isolate something and I'm start to open things. Okay? So I'm a bigger fan of playing open guard. It's more risky, yes, that is for sure. But also, when you take a risk, it opens up more opportunities for you. So I'm a way bigger fan of playing open guard than closed. That is not to say that I will not close my guard. I will close my guard periodically just to shut down the movement or to sort of reset or for whatever reason. But once it's closed, I will generally try to open it and attack. All right? So let's look at the flip side of the coin of Akash Rawat's question, which is, how do you open a tight closed guard? So this is my favorite way of opening a tight closed guard. There's primarily two two ways. One is to try sort of almost like a log splitter where you bring your knee in the middle. I'm less partial to that one. I will use it. So what I mean by that, guys, when I'm in somebody's close guard, I try to play universal game, meaning that my grips are almost the same whether it's gi or no gi. So a lot of times I'll put my hands under his armpits or even on the neck and I'll pop up, okay? So when I pop up and he's got a tight close guard, I will arch my back and get my knee. Once his leg is split, then I will just try to pass guard. Sometimes you may wind up in half guard. You'll have to battle for that. So that's one way. Okay. Let me show that again. Then I'll show you the way that I personally prefer. So I'll pop up and he's still tight. So what I'll do is I'll arch my back. When I'm arching my back, it creates a little bit of space here. I'm going to put my kneecap right there, and then I just sit. Usually that'll open his legs. And then what I'll do is I'll drive through. All right? And I'm trying to not get caught in half guard. Sometimes you will, but at least, you know, at least you got his guard open. If he traps me in half guard, this is my favorite way to get out of half guard. Okay? But the way I personally prefer, if I can, is, again, I pop up and I drive. So my right foot is going to be very close to his torso, and I drive my inner thigh. Guys, don't push like this. It's too easy for him to drag you down. Elbows in, and start to push his leg down. Once his leg is down, guys, I will staple. All right? I try to keep bringing my foot up high to make sure that he cannot just swing out and hook. So I will keep trying to drive. A lot of times, even if the guy is bigger than me, I will go under his leg to keep the pressure forward. I'm stretching my left leg. Is kind of stretching his leg away. This causes pain. A lot of times the guys just literally are happy when you pass their guard from here. Sometimes you have an opponent that's not quite as flexible. What happens is they actually they will tap on the split. So let's look at it one more time. So again, I'll pop up. Guys, when you have a close guard, do not look at your opponent. Do not look at your training partner. When I'm looking at him, my posture is broken. Enrique could actually launch him good. Okay? All right? Do not look at your training partner. Look at the ceiling. So when you pop up, look at the ceiling, bring your leg in so you start to misalign his hips. Elbows in, guys. Push. You can go double under. Me personally, I like to staple his leg and control his head. I drive forward. My left leg actually stretches out his right. Now, if I have him like this, there is no risk of triangle as long as I'm controlling his right leg. And then I pass. At this point, he's truly happy that I got through his guard. Because being in that split position is quite miserable for him. Do we have clarifications, questions on this?
Brian the Stout would love to see you in Cape Coral someday.
All right, just let me know, guys. Send me a message.
And Bilal Body said thank you, and he can't wait till next episode.
Awesome. All right, guys, so if there's no questions or clarifications, guys, don't hesitate to ask questions. If there's anything unclear, you need me to show it again, I'd be happy to. That's the whole point of this thing being Facebook Live. Otherwise, I could just address questions one by one as they come in, okay? So don't hesitate to ask questions. So we're gonna move right on. And I think the next question we have is Linus Olsson from Sweden, sort of on a north-south choke. And east-west choke. And I think that's from John Danaher's video. I don't have that video, so I'm not quite sure what east-west means, but I suspect that it's sort of north-south tends to be very lined up, whereas east-west that it's sort of more perpendicular. But as far as north-south chokes, guys, I don't use it that much. And the reason for that is when I use a guillotine, okay, I feel, you know, even if I cannot finish the choke, I usually have very good control over his body. In this case, because of the way my arm and body is positioned, sort of north-south to him, that if I lose it, and this is just for my game, personally, again, this is my personal opinion, it's a great choke, I will take it, but I tend to finish people a lot more with guillotine, anacondas, knee bars, arm locks, any one of those, I will finish more. Triangles, reverse triangles, inverted, any one of those will generally significantly exceed my north-south finishes. But when I get north-south, you know what, let's turn so they can see my hand. So guys, when I go north-south, there's a couple of things. A lot of times I want to make sure I turn and I want to isolate his head, okay? So right now my palm, my hand, right hand is palm up. What I want to try to do is I don't want to stay here. And I'm going to go over that. I call this south-north choke. The reason for that is, so I don't want to get caught here because, yeah, Enrique's combining south-north choke with an iron fist, which can be quite bad for me. So I want to get past his hand, all right? Again, I don't have the thickest neck. I don't have the deepest carotid. So when I'm here, guys, I want to avoid any possible counter from him. So I want to make sure that his head stays turned to his right. To his right. All right? So now what I do is, guys, I want to scoot down. I want to make sure. Now, once I start to put my hand palm down, you get a very nice, strong finish. So a lot of times when I go north-south, I prefer to finish one-handed. I think the video which I recently did with Firas on guillotines, I talk about one-handed guillotines. I've really come to appreciate one-handed guillotine as well as one-handed sort of north-south choke. So once if I have the opportunity, I will wrap. I will make sure that his head is isolated. With my torso, and I'm trying to get past his hand, and I want to sort of scoot out. I don't want to be fully lined up. I do want to be partially, and then I'm going to go palm down, and that drives my shoulder into the carotid. Now, why do I want to get past his hands? The reason for that is if Enrique goes, if I get caught in this position and I can't turn my head anymore, what I'll do is I'll actually wrap my own hands in a sort of basically rear naked choke grip, and I start to squeeze. I have tried this many years ago. It's probably got to be at least 10 years ago. Some of the old school guys will remember Boris. One time he caught me in a north-south, and I was playing with the south-north, and I actually hit it. I didn't finish Boris, but he backed off. So and Boris was a very strong individual, very good black belt. So when I felt that I had somebody actually back off me from south-north, I knew there was something to it. The trick is to get your body in position. So as soon as you feel like, okay, you're better off to turn your head. So if Enrique attacks north-south on me, if I can do this, I will escape this way. So that prevention is always better than a possible counter or possible sort of counter choke. But if I feel like his torso is in the way, I can't turn my head, I will make sure, I will lock up and squeeze. He's going to be squeezing at the same time, but a lot of times I feel that even if he's squeezing, it becomes sort of like a game of chicken, but it's not like when two guys dive for leg locks simultaneously and trying to crank until something pops. Usually if this is sort of a game where both are squeezing, it's fairly easy to quickly tap whoever is getting close. But a lot of times if I can put his head sort of into the right position, I actually have a better choke than he does. So what I mean by that is as he's coming in, he's isolating. So what I'll do is turn and then squeeze. All right. So that's my patented south-north choke. So that's the reason why when I go for north-south, I tend to use one hand and try to use my second hand to make sure I can, scoot back and also misalign from his body. I believe maybe that's what John was referring to, east-west, but I'm not sure. And then also making sure that I get past his own hand, his own arm, so it doesn't interfere with the choke. 5 minutes. What do we got?
Matthew Hahn says hello. Thorsten Picker says can't wait to see you in October. And Moses Diaz says hi from Houston.
Hi guys, Thorsten, I'll see you in October. I'm looking forward to it, guys. I'm doing a 7-city tour in Germany at the end of October. I posted it on Facebook, so if you can literally pick any other cities from Kiel north to Tuttlingen in the south, and things in between. So anyways, let's go. One more question. We only have 5 minutes. So Andre Aguno from Münster, which is one of the cities I will also visit, was asking, how do we escape a tight triangle? You know, that's a tricky question. Is sort of how tight is it? Is it so tight that, you know, my options to tap, or am I catching it at a sort of still early stage? So a lot of times people, when they get caught in a, let's go this way. I think it's going to be easier. When people get caught in a triangle, you know, people try to posture out. That's probably the most common escape. But when people get caught, they try to bury their arm. So this buys you a little bit of time. My biggest problem now, there's a couple of ways I can escape. One is to bring, my elbow tight and trying to sort of twist and get his ankles to open. One of the ways that I like to do, and by the way, guys, if you have a really good guy on the bottom, and since he called me a triangle, he's really good. It's not easy to pull off, especially if the guy prevents you from bringing the leg over. But when I start to feel like I don't have any other option, what I'll try to do is sit back and bring at least one leg over. All right? If I can bring both, and again, guys, you can bring either, but it sort of depends on which leg is closer, because you don't have a lot of time. You know, if he locked up a very tight triangle, he's going to try to break me down. So what I'll try to do is, and you may have to fight for it, bring at least one leg over. Once I have the leg over, guys, I can retract my arm and then just arch. Now you may have a scramble in your hands, but that's probably my favorite way to escape once it's tight and my posture is broken, especially if the guy's bigger, stronger. So it's going to be hard for me to regain posture. So let's do it one more time. So you can see my posture is broken. I'm burying my arm under my leg. I'm trying to sort of save some time. And notice that my body positioning in such a way already to try to defend as much as I possibly can. So what I'm going to do is, even if he's pulling, he's trying to, get my arm, or pulling, trying to pull my head in. What I'm going to try to do is get my leg in. Guys, it may take some doing. If you can bring it over, just try not to kick your training partner in the head. If it's a fight, by all means. And then just arch. Once the leg is over, that sort of serves as a barrier for him to continue to break my posture and sort of arch, and then usually lets his ankles open. Guys, we have about 2 minutes left. So if you have any other questions, clarifications, yes, Frank, what do we got?
You're going to like this next one from James Michael Smith. Front headlock choke positions when the bigger guy hunkers down.
Oh, yeah. JM, how you doing? I hope you do well. I'll see you in Charlotte at Leadership Martial Arts Camp, 27th and 28th of September, I think. So I'll see you soon. What we may have to do is this is a very, very good question, and this will require a little more than 2 minutes. So let's just preview this, and maybe we'll also put it on the back burner. So if I have a guy, he hunkers down. So anytime somebody hunkers down, if he hunkers down so much that he's just retreating, I will drive through him and attack from top of cross side. So anytime somebody hunkers so much that they're really not doing anything, they're just purely playing possum, I will drive through them. But most guys will hunker down, but not quite that bad. So what I'll do is this forces me to start to use an arm and guillotine. All right, and the best part about it is there's a very easy transition into the anaconda. So a lot of times my guys already know that anytime my left hand goes around their neck, that the guillotine's coming over. So what they'll try to do is block my hand, a lot of times 2-on-1. So I need to push my hand closer to their hip. If I stay close to the head, they can control my left hand, left arm. If I drive it closer to the hip, I can actually get my grip. And I'm gonna get sort of a traditional guillotine grip. And from now, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to keep my head on this side, on my right, on his left. The reason is if I pop up this way, if he postures up, especially a bigger, stronger guy, you might go head first into the mat. So I wanna keep my head on this side. If these hunker down, my option is to pop it into Peruvian necktie to open him up and then guide him into anaconda. The other possibilities, if I can break him down, once I get my grip, I'm gonna drive. Don't collapse. You don't do that to me. I get a tight arm in guillotine, then I'll fold and notice my butt. Gosh, he's tapping too soon. So guys, let's pick up this topic. We're gonna start with this topic in episode 5, which is gonna be Friday, October 4th? Yes, Friday, October 4th. Again, this channel, what channel? It's my personal account. Guys, this is the best way to get a hold of me, okay? I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll talk to you later.